All right, welcome to the Live Your Dreams podcast, where success leaves clues and someone has your answer. And as always, joined by my, I guess not lovely co-host today. Again, another sabbatical. Well, Tia's working out her contract, trying to get a renegotiation on the contract. She won't be joining me today, but she will be back. To everyone, I hope everyone had a happy Father's Day. I hope everybody was able to spend their Father's Day enjoyable with their family. And also Juneteenth. I saw a lot of celebrations on Juneteenth, so I hope everybody also celebrated that. And one of the things, and that's one of the things when you talk about attitude or paradigm shift or some of the ways, the way I changed my thinking was, really referring to my ancestors and some of the things that they went through to get us where we are today. I mean, some of the sacrifices that they made really made me a better person. So I really appreciate all the sacrifices that the ancestors made. One of the things I would like to start off this topic today, we're talking about life isn't fair. That's a really good topic because that's helped me a lot. One of the things I'll start off with a story. It's this story of a farmer, right? And this is how you shift your paradigm. The farmer had a horse, right? And he needed the horse for his farm. But one day the horse ran away, just vanished. And all the locals came to the farmer and said, "Hey, your horse is gone. That's awful, right?" He said, "Maybe." But the next day, that horse brought back with them 7 more horses. And all the locals came to the farmer and said, "Hey, that's great, isn't it?" He said, "Well, maybe." Well, the farmer had a son. And as the son tried to get the horse and kind of tame the horse, he fell off and broke his leg. And everybody ran and said, "Oh, that's awful. Your son broke his leg." The farmer said, "Well, maybe." So then the war started. And some recruiters came around and said, "Hey, look, we're drafting all the young people." But the farmer's son had a broken leg. They couldn't take him. And all the locals came and said, "Hey, that's great, isn't it?" He said, "Well, maybe." And the moral to the story is that you don't know what's going to happen on any situation. You can think you know, but until you see the full picture, you don't know why things happen. And things happen to us every day. And sometimes we get upset. Sometimes we say, "Oh, this is awful." Sometimes great things happen and we say, "Hey, this is great." But you really don't know. Funny story that happened to me, and you may have heard this. I may have told this before because this was life-changing to me. But one day, I was real angry when I was young. I thought somebody owed me something. I really did. I thought somebody owed me something. I had a chip on my shoulder. And I never forget, I was talking with someone who became a mentor to mine. But before that, this person didn't look anything like me, was different, different background. But they pulled me to the side and said, I just want to apologize to you because life isn't fair. And it hit me because, that's something you should learn while you're 5. And this was when I had already started my career. And I said, wow, that really hit me. Say, life isn't fair. And from that day forward, I changed my paradigm. I didn't want to be angry. I didn't want to think somebody owed me something. I said, I'm going to do the work from this day forward. I understand life isn't fair. I'm going to do the work. One funny thing that happened to me also, and again, when you think of some of the things that Tom did, Tom was big into, he called this thing self-affirmations and biofeedback. How you tell yourself different things, right? And again, I used to do some silly things. Crazy things. Stand in front of the mirror. "Hey, you're great." And I used to have to talk to myself because, again, I was coming from a place where I didn't believe in any of that things. I told you when my professor said, "Hey, you got to have a philosophy." And I was like, I don't have no philosophy. And the key is that once you start to tell yourself something, believe it or not, you start to believe it. So you can tell yourself anything. You could tell yourself you're great, and then all of a sudden you'll say, you know what, I'm great. You could tell yourself you're not great, right? That self-doubt creeps in, and then that will be what you believe. I never forget when I started really getting into self-programming and really listening to a lot of positive things. I started to realize the more positive stuff I listened to, the more positive I became. The more negative stuff I listened to, the more negative I came. And you say, well, I don't listen to negative stuff. Believe it or not, you got to really take time to really focus on what you're listening to. Say, for instance, you listen to this music and say, hey, get him, get him, get him. Before you know it, you're going to want to get him, get him, get him. But the key is, if you listen to different music, you're going to want to do something different. I'm going to tell you my favorite song. I'm going to see if you know this. It's not that. It's this. See if you know this song right here. All right, I'm just going to play a little bit just to get you to see if you know that. But when you listen to songs like that, it makes a big difference, right? You don't want to get him, get him, get him when you listen to songs like that. When you listen to songs like that, it kind of makes you feel different. And again, I would listen to songs like that, and it would change the mood. Okay, if you didn't know what that was, this is it. Okay, everybody knows Anita Baker, right? Okay, Anita Baker is probably one of my best artists. And I'm telling you, if you're ever feeling a certain way, say you're feeling down, you put on some Anita Baker, and you feel so much better, okay? So if you don't know who Anita Baker is, please research Anita Baker. Listen to Anita Baker. Makes you feel a lot better, okay? Listen to that. It makes you feel a little bit better. Now, one of the things, this is what helped me also, not only what you listen to, but also what you read. Garbage in, garbage out. Now, just take, for instance, Warren Buffett in countless interviews said he reads 4 to 5 hours a day, okay? Not a week, not a month, a day. Now, just imagine if you read 4 to 5. Now, he reads newspapers, different annual reports. But just imagine if you read 4 to 5 hours a day, where you would be. Okay? Now, you're talking about life ain't fair. One of the things Warren Buffett said, and you have to look at some of his interviews, he said, I have the canvas, I have the paint, and I have the paintbrush. Now, you can say, is that fair or is it not? He's saying, hey, I control everything. Now, if you're reading 4 to 5 hours a day, that ain't fair, right? Is it fair that one person wakes up early and puts the discipline in to get things done, and then the other one sleeps in and don't do it? Sometimes you got to make things fair for you by doing things that other people won't do, putting the work in. Now, if you do that, you make it fair. One of the things Warren Buffett also said, he said, I control who's around me, right? So again, the more he does things like that, the more he's making life fair for him, right? He's actually making too fair for him. But again, he's putting the work in. So when you say life isn't fair, sometimes you just got to get up and do the work. Because if you get up and do the work, life becomes fairer, right? As best, if that's a word, the best it could be. But again, one of the things I had to do was get a lot of that anger out, or some of that someone owes me something, or that chip off my shoulder, and just work on myself. Self-discipline and self-mastery has helped me so much. Having discipline and control of yourself, self-control, because the more you can control yourself, the better some of the outcomes can be. I never forget when I was young, I played Little League. This was club football before they're doing that Pop Warner or whatever they're doing now. But it was club football precincts. I played for 14 Boys Club. But I never forget, we would scrimmage, and we would go out to some of the other areas and scrimmage. And I mean, they would have the nice equipment, the nice workout facilities, or whatever, everything was nice. And we would get on the club van, and I mean, I used to have this thing called a U-bar. I don't know if anybody know it. I had a U-bar, like that Joe Theismann, one little scrap around the chin. But even though we didn't have the best equipment, we ended up winning the championship. I never forget, we played on Gonzaga Field, And playing on Gonzaga, it was a high school, um, but playing on Gonzaga field felt like we was at, I mean, the RFK. But when we won that championship, even though we probably didn't have the best equipment, one thing we had that commitment. We had a great coach, and I mean, we worked hard. And even though it wasn't fair because we didn't have the best of everything, we made it fair with our commitment. We made it fair because we worked hard. And one of the things looking back at that, I mean, we wasn't angry, we wasn't mad, we wasn't saying, hey, they got better equipment. I mean, we went out there and we worked. It was equivalent to Warren Buffett reading 4 to 5 hours a day. That's the type of work ethic we had. So one of the things that helps you is that you have to put that work ethic in. Even though life may not be fair, even though things may happen that you really think that you know it's bad or you know it's good, sometimes you don't know. Sometimes you just got to understand that you just got to work through the process. And if you believe the process, it's like Steph Curry. If he know he goes to the gym every day and shoot 3-pointers, when he needs that 3-pointer the most, it's going to go right in because he practiced it every single day. And that's the same thing. And again, is life fair? Is it fair that Steph Curry goes to the gym more than others? Right? So sometimes we can make it fair. There's that word again. Sometimes we can make it fair if we actually put the work in. So again, some of that is that self-mastery, self-discipline, the commitment to actually change your life. I really believe that in living your dreams, success leaves clues. Someone has your answer. I believe that 100%. But the key is you have to get there and get the knowledge, whether it's listening to different music, whether it's reading different books. The answer that you're looking for, someone has it, but you have to go get it. It's a great probability that the answer that you're looking for isn't going to come knock on your door tomorrow morning. It's a great probability. Now, could it? It could. But it's a great probability that that answer that you're looking for, that is out there, is not going to come knocking on your door tomorrow. But you got to go find that answer. And you find that answer by getting in there, reading, listening to different programs. Listening to different music. That answer that you're looking for, it will come. But you got to go out there and get it. And you really have to go out there and get it. I'm going to take a page from Tia's book, try to be a little transparent. Since she's on sabbatical, I got to step in for her, right? So I got to be transparent like she would be. But I never forget, I probably was maybe 25. And it was one of my mentors who was very impressionable in my life. He was the president of a division of a large company, right? So he came to me one day, he said, hey, Maurice, when are you going to get your own store? And I said, well, in 2 years. I don't know what made me say 2 years. I really don't. I don't know what made me say 2 years. I said 2 years. And he said, yeah, it'll happen for you. So when he left, I went in the bathroom and I said, man, you're lying, right? I'm saying this to myself, but I didn't use the word man. I used the word more descriptive of the African-American experience in the urban community. I said, you're lying. Right? And I was looking at myself like, man, you're lying to yourself because I didn't believe it. But believe it or not, because somebody believed in me and I did the work within 2 years. It happened quicker than that. But it happens. But you have to believe in yourself. You have to go out there and sometimes you do got to speak it. Sometimes you do got to have mentors around you that believe in you and see things in you that you don't see in yourself. It's the environment. So some of it is the environment, but you have to place yourself in that environment. But you have to believe in yourself because the more you believe in yourself, the more you take the chip off your shoulder, the more you take the anger away, the more you think somebody owes you something. When you take all that away, you become better. And believe it or not, you start to perform better. But again, take also some of the strategies that Warren Buffett does. You got to think the man reads 4 to 5 hours every day. That's equivalent to Steph Curry shooting the 3-pointers every day. What are you doing to separate yourself from the competition? I guess that's the number one. We talked about self-discipline, self-mastery. What are you doing to separate yourself from the competition? You have to do something to separate yourself from the competition if you want to live your dreams, right? So what are you doing to separate yourself from the competition? That's a gem. That's a gem right there. The self-discipline, the self-mastery, the self-control, taking away the anger, taking away the chip off your shoulder, taking away that you believing that someone owes you something because they don't. And again, I started talking about my ancestors. The sacrifices that they made for me to be able to enjoy the life that I enjoy, I don't want to take that for granted. They went through too much pain. They went through too much sacrifice for me not to do my best, for me not to do something that separates me from the competition. So that's one of the things, in conclusion, I have to say it again, life is not fair, but you can work hard to make it as fair as possible, but it's up to you. And again, I will get this right. Oh, and I'll see you. And yes, I do mean you, living your dreams. Please like, subscribe, and share. Also, ladies and gentlemen, you can do it. Let's go.